So I'm just configuring YouTube for live streaming.
Yeah. Okay, let me.
Okay. This can be on pause. Okay. And then have participants. Please promote. So I'll just wait a few seconds for more people popping. Great to see you, Ryan. Welcome. So I think more people will join, but welcome to the member meeting. I have some bad news because Chantal Penning. Oh, I have some echo somewhere. Chantal Penning is not able to do this anymore. So
sorry, you're pretty echoey. And people who aren't speaking.
Yeah. Why is there echo? I will mute myself.
We're just finishing up service in the aircraft.
Sorry, what was it that you were saying, HJ? I didn't catch it.
Yeah, so one more attendee. Yeah, so Chantal Planning, she was doing a marvelous job for presenting this meeting, but she won't be able to do that anymore because of her work. Her normal work is very demanding. So I'm asking a volunteer to present this meeting because I'm too busy with the administration of bounties and people becoming a member, etc. And hopefully this process will be automated so I get some more time. And in this Saturday, I will talk with DC Casey about his new system to get rid of our spreadsheets because it's really exploding. It's getting slow and people cannot find their way and it's mixed up and well, it's a very fragile system. It was nice for prototyping, but now we have to go to a different system.
Yeah, I agree. Have you talked to Kathy Henderson at all? I know she was interested in sort of working with you and Dan Connolly on, a proposal to make this stuff better.
No. What could you put her name into the chat box, please?
Yep.
And maybe you can tell a bit more about Kathy.
Yeah, one second. I'm still finding her name on Discord, but Kathy was there at the governance forum and was getting really involved more recently with sort of spinning up working groups, getting the working group for voting for the member site and for there was another one as well, but she's been sort of involved in sort of organizing from a sort of meta level how active members, or whatever we're called now, can organize themselves, form working groups, propose budgets, that sort of thing.
Okay,
Hi, everyone.
sounds interesting. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, I just wanted to follow up on that. I met with Kathy last Friday, and yeah, we essentially discussed the same. She sent me sort of a proposal to review, so I'm just going to take a look at it and give her some feedback, but she's going to share it. She would like to share it for the executive meeting tomorrow.
Okay, when is that executive meeting? Exactly. Time
Friday,
and...
I'm not sure the time.
Okay.
It's not tomorrow. That would be Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to jump off. I'm going to start boarding the plane in a second. But yeah, it's on Friday.
Okay.
I'll get that information back to her with some some comments, and she'll distribute it before our meeting on Friday.
Okay. Have a good flight.
Thank you very much.
So I've also an interesting question. That is if the co-op would accept ROC for payments.
Accept ROC for what?
For payments from members. Because it would open some nice perspectives for people who are not a member yet. They could, and if they do some work and they would earn some ROC, then I just could subtract $20 from their bounty.
Of course, why not? Makes sense.
And then they would have paid for the membership.
I guess the only question is, are we allowed to pay people in ROC for work who are not co-op members?
Well, for February, it's still possible. Because this decision has been made recently that you have to be a member to be paid for. So I guess that we can use February to convert non-members into members, and then from March on, you need to be a member before earning bounties.
I'm not sure if that was what was agreed.
Maybe you can explore on that.
Yeah, so we'll check tomorrow as to when that we know when the policy was made. I assume it would have been effective at the time that the policy was made, but we can check on that tomorrow. I mean, sorry, Friday.
Yeah, please do. Because I think for January it was, I'm paying non-members. So, and February is almost to a close. And if this possibility would be that non-members could pay ROC for their membership, then a lot of problems would be solved also.
How will this payment be made? Because currently on the member.rchain.coop, I don't see a slot for paying in ROC. So how will this transaction happen?
So the transaction would be very simple. On your invoice, I will subtract $20 from your bounty, and then your fee would be paid.
Thank you. So this implies that we are leaving this open for folks who are doing work on GitHub. If someone, external has ROC, will that also be open to them? Someone who is not on GitHub, but for some reason has bought rocks.
Please repeat the question.
So what you're saying is it's easy for someone who has done work and is on the bounty program. For someone who is not on the bounty program, but has got some rocks, how will that payment be made, or this is not open to them?
Okay, that would be a different procedure, I think, because then an Ether address has to be opened. So on the payment page of the for the normal membership, then there would be a possibility to pay for the membership. What do you think about that, Ian?
I don't like the idea. Several reasons. So first is to become a member, besides the paying of the membership fee, there's also, we need people to sign off to the membership agreement and also to do the ID verification. So I'm wondering why you're suggesting this in the first place. Do you see the membership registration as such a high obstacle to participation? Is that it?
No, but I thought it was a nice idea.
I think it might complicate some things. And I mean, to my thinking, if someone goes through the steps of joining the co-op first, they're kind of putting some stake in. They're making some commitment. If we have no bar at all, then I think we open the door to fairly low level contribution.
Okay. Then let's forget about this idea. Yeah. I mean, we have to be practical.
I just don't want, because it costs them nothing, a lot of people coming in and just proposing a lot of nonsense. If there's a little bit of buy-in, tiny bit of a paywall, then I think we'll get better quality participation.
You may be right. Yeah. So there's also another question. How do we get a connection between the Discord and the GitHub?
Dan Connolly and Coin Physicist are doing some great work in that direction. It's a little bit complicated because it involves multiple OAuth servers, and we would also need a bot on Discord that could identify members as members. But they're working through it quite well. A longer term solution would be to have a much better membership database that can be queried safely directly by these applications. But that might be a later stage. I'd love to see it sooner, but I think what Dan and Coin Physicist are working on now is probably the quickest path forward.
Okay, I will connect with them and see how we can make this connection. And if we use the same system as in Discord, like the extension is a colon and a semicolon, etc., then we can see easily who's a member or not.
Well, we just need a way to see who's a member and who isn't. And we don't have OAuth set up on the membership database, but currently it's all there up on Discord. So the OAuth query would mean that when you log into the when you log into the app that Dan is creating, you'd get a little screen pop up that says, please sign into Discord, and it will ask you permission to share your Discord ID. Because really, that's all we need to know. Once we have Discord ID, we can check for membership. Sorry if that's too technical.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Maybe it's also possible to have that's a different subject, to have a walkthrough to the rolling formatter. I don't know who could do that from this group, but.
What are you asking for, HJ?
Well, somebody wrote an extension on, I don't know, he wrote an extension on how to program Rollin, and it's like a formatter. So it was going to be presented in the Hangout of Greg, but there was no time for it. And there was some push for presenting it. But maybe it can be presented here first. Who knows about this format? Well, apparently nobody. So, well, this will be not a very structured meeting, so I will give the floor to anybody who wants to talk and give us some update.
Sure. So I am leading a sort of subcommittee on voting / user registration issues. So I'll definitely be talking with Dan and Coin Physicist about the OAuth 2 stuff, but I have some other ideas about putting membership verification on chain. Kevin Valentine was talking about wanting that for cases where our partners want to offer ICOs to or other members or the other community at large. So yeah, I have a couple of GitHub issues surrounding voting and registration issues that are assigned to me / this sub working group. So if anyone's interested in working on me with that, working on that with me, then they can just reach out.
Hey, Jake, you're calling it a sub working group? Is it just a working group?
It's a working group? Okay, cool. It's a
working group. If it's a sub, what is it a sub off of?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, we spawned like these 3 or 4 working groups out of this sort of giant governance working group or whatever. And, you know, I think it's still all shaking out, at least in my mind, how that's all going to work. But
yeah, I was trying to pursue and find out what these working groups were and whether there was enough participation to perhaps set up channels like mailing list. But once you have some critical mass together, I think we should really try to do mailing lists or some way that you can kind of coordinate the communications and not just have email threads, you know, listing, you know, lots and lots of, you know, member email addresses, and, you know, it's kind of hard to manage that way. We do have a couple mailing lists now there's a new member working group, and Mackey's is on this call right now. That's Amaka is helping to run that. So there's actually a mailing list where people who want to volunteer to help orient new members are encouraged to join up there. And I think we also have a doodle poll for a meeting to come up soon as well. So we have a channel, we have a meeting coming, and we have Amaka is kind of running, managing the group right now.
Cool. And yeah, I don't know that we'll necessarily need a mailing list for voting system stuff. My hope is that we would sort of organize ourselves via a label in the GitHub issues, have some GitHub issues, and maybe some meetings which would have notes posted to GitHub. That's sort of, I think, the route I'm looking to go right now.
So sounds good.
Yeah. Kathy Henderson has been taking the lead in organizing the governance working group. And this is sort of where those 5 committees sub-working groups came out of, which is broken up into the membership site with Patrick, voting with Jake, principles and values, which I'm spearheading. I'm looking for people who want to participate in that development, the branding, Peter Mormon, and the greeter with Amaka. I don't know if anyone else wants to report on their group. Amaka?
Yeah. So based on the greeter group, that's the new member working group. We have about 10 folks who've signed up to join the group. Currently, we're trying to figure out a time. So we're using the doodle poll to find a time that works best for most of us. And then when we sit to talk, we'll start shaping out what our goal is, because that's the first point of call, what our goal is and how we intend to improve the onboarding experience. And it's good that what we do is going to integrate with all the other working groups. For example, we have voting, which is something that would be, a lending a hand to. We have the values. You cannot onboard if you cannot transfer the values that is currently existing in the group to new members. So at some point we'll be handshaking with other working group. So that's where we are right now, trying to set up a time to meet. I've been looking at the space and identifying gaps. Those gaps, I intend to have that conversation with the working group, and then we'll see how we can start closing the gaps in bits.
Well, that's very interesting, all nice developments. Anybody else for an update?
I suppose the nominating committee is looking for a treasurer. So there's some information about that you can find posted to the Discord, GitHub, or you can get at me for more information. But we sort of don't really have a candidate that meets all of our ideal qualifications right now. So if people have networks or know people, it would be great to tap those.
Hey, Jake, from the nominating committee, are you guys also doing a search for some kind of a communications director, someone who could take ownership of some of the content of our public channels, like RChain.coop, who could help get announcements out?
I have not heard any direction from the chair as to us searching for a candidate of that type.
Okay, because it's something that that seemed quite popular at the governance forum.
Yeah, I think the idea of how the nominating committee works is that the need for that position would have to be passed down from the board to the committee. That's my understanding, at least.
Okay, the board doesn't get together very often, so I was hoping there could be something more dynamic, but.
Sure. So we're saying we should start that in advance. Yeah, I guess that would be a conversation with Evan Jensen, who chairs it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I would think that, you know, they would have to get some kind of authorization from the board, but I would see that creating that position would be a business of the executive committee.
Yeah, I'll try to get it onto the agenda for Friday's meeting to address that.
Okay. I have a question to Will Q. Could you tell something about your activities?
My activities, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. I have been searching around the GitHub issues, and there's one thing I was doing. I'm uploading the YouTube's videos to the Chinese video website. I mentioned it on the GitHub issue. That's what I have been doing, and I'm trying to translate those videos into Chinese and rebake the videos into the videos and upload it to the Chinese video website to let them Chinese people can watch the videos, something like that. Am I clear?
Yes, that's very clear. So there's a lot going on in China. I'm very happy to hear that.
Which website are you targeting?
I'm going to share the link. Wait for a moment.
In the meantime, I just have a message for Brendan about the t-shirts. I will come back to you as soon as possible about that.
Yeah, we need to. I've been trying to get them. Apparently, Greg picked them up, but he hasn't been responding to my texts or messages, so I don't know who has them at the moment. And I'm trying to find the remaining shirts.
Okay, but it was more about paying the cost for the printing of the t-shirts.
Message me after the call on Discord.
Yeah, okay, fine, thank you. So, Kid Blake, are you still in Tokyo?
Yes, it's 4 in the morning for me, so I'm not very talkative today. Actually, no, it's 5:34. It was 4 in the morning when the debrief started.
Okay, I love your participation in this group, and I hope you're doing well in Tokyo. So Navneet, how are you doing? I thought Ojimadu wanted to speak also, or?
Hello, everybody. I'm just joining the meeting. I've been busy, so I didn't remember what there was the meeting until now, so I don't really have anything to say. Just say hi to everybody.
Okay, there's some great news too. A lot of family around there, I think. Who wants to get the floor? Ellen G. Cooper, I didn't see you before yet, so please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Alan. I hope I'm on video, and I'm just very, very happy to have met a lot of people from the co-op at the Governance Forum and to meet you today.
That's great that you have joined the governance meeting. I was not there, but I've seen a lot of videos about it, and it's a great production. Navneet, how are you doing?
I don't know if he's actually at his computer right now.
He's gone fishing, probably. Yeah.
I think he went to lunch because he just asked, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, Flowpoint, could you tell something? Give a small update.
Hi. Yeah, I'm doing well. I really liked the discussion we had last week. So I wrote something down, and I think I will post it soon. Well, it's just a few thoughts on the reward system, and I have the question: is there a working group, or where would I go to discuss the reward system? Because well, it's already kind of hard to orient oneself in the co-op as it's growing so fast.
Yeah, that's a good question. Where to put things.
Do you know about the working group, or a few people interested in maybe rethinking the reward system or thinking about the alternatives?
Yeah, DC Casey on Discord, Dan Connolly, HJ, who's 2, right? And then Cat H on Discord, Kathy Henderson is also interested.
Nice. So I didn't read that anywhere. Maybe it would be good to write that down. I mean, we are then like 5 people or so, maybe a few more. That's already enough to form a small working group. Maybe even the perfect number of people to talk about things in an effective way. So
yeah, totally.
It wasn't listed.
Yeah, one way would be to start an issue on GitHub. I believe HGI, is there already an issue about discussing the bounty system, or there is not any in GitHub? Because
there was one about feedback, but I didn't.
Yeah, I think it's 260, issue 260, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can start putting thoughts in there so that others can join in there. And if it is closed, I guess it can be. Well, nice. I think if it is closed, you're supposed to start a new item rather than reopening the old item. But if it is open, you can start with.
It's open. I just assigned you.
All right. Updates on my end. Well, I finished. Well, I started and am kind of done. Wow. How to say? I worked on the safe remote purchase Solidity for on Rolang. The example I translated it to Rolang, and it's in the role for RHOL 44. Also an issue on GitHub, and I tested it. It seems to work, but well, it's so new. I'm not sure if the intent, if my mental model about Rolang is right. So maybe I missed the point about the channels. But yeah, so that's basically I made the Solidity example of a safe remote purchase in Rolang, working with the example ERC20 token. So maybe take a look at it.
Yeah, it looks very interesting.
Is there a
we'll try to take a look at
code
it.
review process or something that people can, perhaps Flowpoint, you could invite others to review that code. I'm not sure if anybody in the development team has the time to do that or not, but I know Jake knows Rolang, and I know Alan. Are you comfortable reviewing what Flowpoint has done, or you're still getting up to speed?
I think I should add some comments and rename the variables. They are basically random as of now, the variable names. It's not good to read.
Okay,
But,
I mean, whenever you're done, I guess if you put an invitation in there for people to review, comment, whoever would be either interested or has the skill could probably do that.
nice. So the one other thing I'm fiddling around with is I started, but I'm not very far with Rolang as a language integrated into the Atom code editor. It's one of the biggest code editors, so I think that would be very useful. But I'm not far enough that I would start an issue or anything. I'm just figuring out how Atom integrates with that.
Could you put a link to the code editor in the chat over here? I didn't quite get.
Sure. That's all. I'm just playing with it. I just mentioned it for funsies. But maybe it's ready. So then I will post it. Sure. Yeah, I'm talking about.
Okay, thanks for the link.
Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is the RChain Noob programming working group. And I guess tomorrow, Jake is going to be going over some tutorial contracts with us.
Wait, what was I going to do?
I think you were going to continue with the tutorial. The next contract, whatever that was.
Yeah, sure. I could do a little bit of that.
And you're certainly welcome to show us your contract. We'd like to look at it and see if we can figure out what it does tomorrow. And that's directly following. Wait. No, the noob school is at 2 o'clock Eastern. That's 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right after the governance open meeting, which starts at 10 a.m. Pacific Time tomorrow. But if you're available and you can show us what you've done, that would be awesome.
Jim, you should probably add Flowpoint to your mailing list, right? So that he has the notification in the room, the Zoom room, and everything else.
Well, it's on the RChain calendar. I can put a link to the calendar in there.
Okay. In the meantime, we can go to Kasarachi Kotlin maybe. Can you give an update? Or maybe she has no, or he has no mic.
Oops.
Who else wants to take the floor? Well, I have some updates about the bounty system, and I'm very happy with the discussions that are taking place about decentralized budgets and rewards. And people are self-adjusting their bounties or their rewards or budgets based on community input. So there's not a manager who is giving an order, you should make a lower budget, but people are convinced that it's not good for the co-op to have a high budget, and then they make a smaller budget. So I'm very happy with that. And also some people refuse to get a payment because they think they have not worked enough for a bounty. So that's also very interesting. So we have a few extremes, people abusing the system, and people are also asking nothing for work they've done. And hopefully these discussions about bounties will happen in a decentralized manner, and that everybody is sharing the same mission of the co-op. And for me, it's like resetting the internet. And anybody who thinks he can help that mission is free to do what he wants, he or she, what she wants. So I'm hoping that we are getting forward with it, and that we don't get too much organized in working groups and committees and etc. So that's a bit more than the discussion we had last week, and hopefully we can go on with this system. Who wants to take the floor?
I just want to quickly say that, like, I don't think that necessarily having working groups and doing the decentralized budgeting system have to be sort of two different separate ways of looking at things. I think it's, it's good for people who want to get together and self-organize into working groups to get things done. And they might use the bounty system to get rewarded for that. That's sort of what I'm looking at doing right now. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I would suggest that, each of the working groups or sub-working groups should be associated with an issue, so that we have sort of a complete set of activities in the repository there.
That sounds good.
The only thing is that it should slow down the quick process that we have now. It shouldn't be a hurdle for people who want to do things. So when it's in that way, then it's okay. So Kasarachi Gotlin, you seem to have a microphone now.
Godlin typed in the chat that they're having network problems or something.
Okay, thanks. Rob, do you have any other news?
Nothing. I guess I'm trying to digest the member meeting from earlier. It kind of relates to some of the stuff that I was trying to do or help with. The other thing, I think the expense report thing, on the one hand, Dan says, oh, it's all listed in the contributing.md, but clearly Patrick has a question, I have a question. Is it, I mean, HJ, in your mind, is there a process that has been finalized for that or not, for expense reports?
For which process, you mean?
No, for claiming expenses for the governance forum.
Okay, I thought Greg has put out an email address where you could send your expenses to, and then it would be handled. But I forgot the email address.
Does anybody know that email address? I know there was an email address for requesting for support, but I don't know that there was one for submitting.
Okay. Well, I guess you're the most interested to get some money back. So maybe it would be a good idea.
Not just me. Kit just said that he's interested in that too, and I'm sure everybody else would or should be interested to close that item.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was something like support request. I think I'd put it in a chat with you before, Rao. Maybe we can find it.
Oh no, but I thought that was only for getting an okay. Is it also the email for submitting receipts? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think it is, but I mean, we have invoices at RChain.coop that's where we've been sending most things.
Okay, so we can send it to invoices at RChain.coop.
I'd give it a try. Yeah, just make sure you spell it out up top what it's about, so they can check with Greg.
Okay, so that's invoices plural,
right? Invoices. I will type it in the chat box.
Thanks.
And RChain.coop. So, but you can send your invoice there, but it has to be approved somehow. So I don't know who the approver is for this kind of things. I think the easiest way is to create an issue and then get 3 people behind your idea and then get rewarded for that.
Well, I'm going to put Ian and you along with whoever else on the issue, because Dan thinks somehow the process is all spelled out, and I went to contributing.md to look for it, and it's not.
Well, did you get a reply when you sent to the support request?
Yeah, eventually there was a Discord okay from Kenny in there. Not in the email, but basically Patrick re-forwarded my request, or he did a Discord message to Kenny, and Kenny said okay.
Yeah, so if you can include that when you send to invoices, that could help.
Okay, all right. But yeah, because I'm thinking that the general membership, whoever the hundreds of people that attended, would need to know the process, right? So we need to communicate that. And if all we do in the issue is just to say that, hey, send your invoice to this email with your supporting documentation and your original email approving your request. If that's all they need to do, that's what we need to say the process is. Agree?
Well, I think it's an interesting way to do it through an issue. because that would open the possibility for sending any invoice and raising an issue and getting rocks for it.
So have you had any more correspondence through that same email address, the support request?
No, I have not. Like I said, it actually came as a Discord message from Kenny.
I see.
Forwarded this thing. But did others have? I mean, I'm not the only one that traveled. Are others? What process are others following? I guess is what I'm curious about.
I got a reply from RChain request at gmail.com. That was the email posted by Veronica Moore on Discord. I sent a message and I got a reply through that email. I think maybe we can actually use the email for the to claim the reimbursement or something.
Hello, any update about the Bounty app?
Well, this Saturday I will go through the new system with Daisy Casey and see if we can implement it for March.
Okay, I see that.
Because spreadsheets are becoming very cumbersome. Yeah, go ahead, Marquise.
How is the Bounty app supposed to work? Did we have a demo on that?
Well, it's more or less similar to the spreadsheets. I mean, the principles of spreadsheets have been made into an application, and an SQL database is behind it. So you could search for issues, add a budget to it, and later on add a reward or a bounty to it. So it gives also possibilities to get a profile on GitHub members, things like that. So next week we can make a presentation about it.
Okay. Just a quick question. I know I haven't checked. Has the bounty for January been paid out completely?
No, not yet. I'm still waiting for a few invoices, and then the invoices will be sent to invoices at RChain.coop. And then those invoices will end up into a payment register. And with that register, we can do actual proposed payments in the Gnosis multi-sig wallet. And then somebody else, when I enter them, somebody else has to confirm that payment, and then it will be handled. So January is still going on. Okay, if there's no urgent messages anymore, then we are entering the end time of this meeting. And
hey Ajay, this is Namit. I just want to say hi. I missed it. I was guarding it with another internal meeting. Sorry about that. And hello everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, hello, Brendan. Okay.
After this on Discord.
Yeah, your thought, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. We'll
Oh,
talk
this is
about
Navneet also. I was sitting next to Brandon, actually. You may see Brandon talking, but this is Navneet too.
Nice to hear your voice, Navneet.
I was
Okay.
disguised, you know.
Yeah. So let's end the meeting here, and thanks for joining, everybody. See you next week.
Bye.